We have more content breaking down the 2022 DraftKings Week 1 main slate, this time in the form of a head-to-head battle on DraftKings. The FFC versus DFS Hub, and it's all coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee from the Fantasy Football Consultants. I'm glad to welcome Gian Novielli, Customer Service Experience Specialist from DFS Hub. Gian, welcome to the show.
Eric, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show. Very excited. We got week 1 coming right up.
Yeah, well, before we get to it, tell us a little bit about DFS Hub.
Well, thanks for asking that question. DFS Hub was developed to help everyday fantasy football enthusiasts understand and efficiently exploit NFL data to help them level the playing field against the pros.
All right, so we're going to actually go on the site when we do this head-to-head battle. But if you guys like this type of content, please remember to like the video, comment, and share with your friends. And if you haven't yet, hit that red subscriber button. Before we get to the head-to-head matchup, we want to remind people about our preseason content. We have been filming a lot. All of these shows we have done, we want to particularly highlight the fact that we have done DraftKings and FanDuel shows with cash and GPP lineups. So you want to check those shows out. All the links are in the description. All right, let's go to the DFS platform and do this head-to-head matchup.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, we're on the DFS Hub site, and we'll get more into details of all these different columns that are on your screen. But the key thing to focus in on is at the top of the screen is the lineup, and that's what we will be building in this contest. But let's go through the rules real quick. The draft will be snake format. Each player will field the standard DraftKings roster, and it will be based on the DraftKings main slate, pricing, and salary cap. Here's the key. Once a owner selects a player, the other owner may not select that same player. And Gian, we're doing this 1 week before the season, and we have to be wary of guys that might not play because we're not going to be able to change them, swap them out of the lineup later. So guy doesn't play, that's a 0 in your lineup. So, all right. So as the guest, Gian, I will let you choose. Do you want to have the first pick or the second and third pick?
Oh, that's a tough choice to make right off the hop here. But you know what? I'm going to take the first pick overall. But the first player taken will be Jonathan Taylor. Listen, he's expensive, right? He's the most expensive player in this week's fantasy. But the reason why I took Jonathan Taylor is that he's very consistent. They're playing Houston, right, this week. They're favored by more than a touchdown. They're going to be running the ball. If they have the lead, which we anticipate they will, they're going to do a lot more running in the second half. 80% of the carry share load for him last year. I don't see that changing this year. It's going to be a lot of opportunities for him, a lot of chances for him to get points. I like the projection, 23.9. I think he even slightly betters it.
Okay, wow. All right, so Jonathan Taylor's off the board. He was absolutely someone I wanted on my team, but he was not my first overall pick. All right, so with my first of my 2 picks was the guy I was sort of hoping you weren't gonna pick. It's at wide receiver. He is at the league minimum, so I am gonna put the salary at $3,000, and he is on the New York Giants.
Whoa.
It's Wan'Dale Robinson. So I like on your site how you can get the latest information from him. And the latest information, even though they say he has a limited upside, I don't need a large upside for $3,000. That this is a guy that is looking like he will be in the starting role in the 3 wide receiver sets, along with Kenny Galladay and Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney is questionable, so he might even get promoted a little bit more. So I'm excited to get this guy. If you've seen this guy actually play in college, He is a speedster. He's one of those guys you just need to get the ball in his hands. The Giants don't have a lot of great weapons, especially at wide receiver. I can't imagine they won't utilize him in this game, and I don't need him to do much at $3,000. So he is my first guy in my lineup. And whereas this was a surprise because I didn't talk about Wan'Dale Robinson in any of the DraftKings shows to date, the next one is not a surprise. I've been very open about how much I think DraftKings has really mispriced this guy. I would love to welcome Michael Pittman Jr. This guy is the clear number one wide receiver. Last year, 88 receptions. No one else got more than 40 receptions. He had 24% of the targets that were thrown his way uncatchable. That is an attack on Carson Wentz. He's gone. Matt Ryan is there. Matt Ryan, according to Pro Football Focus, is a substantially more accurate passer last year. So, Michael Pittman against that same Houston team whose defense sucks both against the run and the pass.
I like the pick, Eric. Number one, you're being value conscious with your salary. So now you're going to have some free money to spend up on some other players here. And you still could very well get the production with these two picks. Well, I think I am going to take my second running back with my second pick.
Oh, boy.
And we are looking at another player who has shown a lot of consistency, a player who gets his touches, catches, pretty much every game, and that is none other than Joe Mixon. So we select Joe Mixon because he plays a part in the passing game. He gets a lot of carries, 72% of the snaps in his last three. I know it's a new season.
First of all, I have a question. Do you also work in Congress? Because you are spending money like a bandit. But great pick. Great pick. I love Joe Mixon for all the reasons that you said. In addition, the Bengals added 3 new offensive linemen. It's going to be a clear upgrade, and I think the biggest beneficiary of that is going to be Joe Mixon. So great pick. Where are you going to go with your second one?
With my second, I will take my sleeper, George Pickens. He has a tremendous pedigree. Again, he's never played a game, but he's coming from the Georgia Bulldogs, national champs. He passes the eye test. I mean, in preseason, I got to watch a little bit, especially the highlights. Unbelievable. He comes in as their number 3 behind Johnson and Claypool, but I think he's going to have quite an impact on opening day. The price is right. I think you're going to see not too long down the road him being much, much, much more expensive.
I would have picked Jonathan Taylor, but you snaked him from me with the first overall pick. But you know what? On DraftKings, a very nice consolation prize is Christian McCaffrey. Gosh, this guy, when he's been healthy, and in daily fantasy football, you don't worry about that as much, has been sensational, especially on DraftKings with the full PPR. I think he gets an upgrade at quarterback going from Sam Darnold to Baker Mayfield. And you may recall that Kareem Hunt has performed really well, meaning in his Cleveland days. That's because Baker Mayfield has no problem dumping it off to his running back. So I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be the clear beneficiary.
I would say it's a great pick overall. Again, let's hope he stays healthy this year. If he does, he could be the number 1 running back in fantasy football. I mean, he does it all, right? He runs, he catches, and they use him everywhere, up and down the field, from their own end all the way into the red zone. So great pick, and you had the money.
Yeah. And one thing that we talked about in our DraftKings show is that we see these 4 premium backs between McCaffrey, Taylor, Eckler, and Henry. And yes, I said that you really need to have one of those guys in your lineup. If you can figure out a way to get 2 because value opens up before the season starts, go for it. Well, I think value opened up before the season in Wan'Dale Robinson. So I am going to double my pleasure of dominating running backs and put in Derrick Henry. This guy is such a clear weapon on Tennessee. And I think with A.J. Brown gone, they may have to rely on him even more, not just running the ball, but I'm hoping getting a little bit more involved in the passing game. Like Taylor, he's in a great game script. We see here 5.5-point favorites, a nice implied total of 24.5. So I got Derrick Henry.
Like Derrick Henry as well. I mean, you're definitely heavy on the running back as am I, and I think in a head-to-head matchup like this, you want to be. Okay, so now it's my turn with 2 picks here, Eric, and this is the point where I'm going to do my stack. Derek Carr. It's going to be a shootout, and that's my prediction in that game. The Los Angeles Chargers have been giving up 30 points a game, fantasy points a game, the last 4 games. I know it's a new season, but I think that Derek Carr will have some success, especially with Davante Adams. I mean, Las Vegas, even last year, had a ton of weapons when healthy. This year, now you add Adams, even more so. It's almost like, who's going to not get the ball here? Because with Adams and Jacobs and Renfro and Waller, I mean, wow. I mean, that's very impressive. I think that having Adams around, they know each other from their college days. I just think that this team is going to be even more dynamic than they were last year. That being said, I don't have the money to take Davante Adams, so I'm going to be stacking with Hunter Renfro. I mean, he's a great safety net. They utilize him on 3rd down like crazy. I don't see any of these things changing. And the thing is with him, he does great in single coverage and great in the slot. Okay. I just feel strongly that they're going to try and blanket Davante Adams. And what's going to happen here is the same thing that happened last year. You're going to have Hunter going crazy underneath, and I love it.
Yeah, one thing you should be focused in on, if you can, in week 1 is to try to get exposure to the high scoring games. And you certainly have one in the Las Vegas LA game. I have $24,400 with 5 players. So I just went nutso my last two picks of spinning up. So I want to go a little bit more cost conscious. I am going to go at wide receiver is a guy I have been peddling all week. Rashad Bateman, there's a lot to like, and it's not just his $5,300 price. I love the fact that he will absolutely be the number 1 wide receiver this year. The 146 targets that Hollywood Brown got are gone to LA as he is. So I think he'll be the number 1 wide receiver. I won't say he'll be the number 1 target because they do have Mark Andrews. But I love this particular game script because he plays the New York Jets, and I think Baltimore is going to pile up the points. Nobody gave up more points last year than the New York Jets. Also, Baltimore's number 2 running back, Gus Edwards, is definitely out. And it looks like J.K. Dobbins is going to be out. So I think, like last year, they're going to pass more than they normally do. So there's Rashad Bateman. And you have to go a little bit cost conscious here. So I'm going to go with the guy I've talked about all week, Cole Kmet. He is, I believe, going to be the number 2 targeted guy for Justin Fields on Chicago, only behind Darnell Mooney. I do look and see his team total 17 isn't great, but I just think he's going to get a very big piece of the pie because Allen Robinson is gone. And most importantly, Jimmy Graham, who, if you look at Cole Kmet's statistics, they were pretty good. But the problem is he got 0 touchdowns last year. And Jimmy Graham was the biggest culprit because of that. He's gone. So I think Cole Kmet's going to step it up this year.
I think that Justin Fields himself will have a big leap this year, which is going to help everybody. I think that Cole Kmet at $3,700 is a steal.
Yeah, I don't know how much you believe in preseason, and I'm not sure how much I believe in preseason, but Justin Fields definitely had a good preseason. So we'll see how
Absolutely.
that connects. All right, let's go over to you.
With that, and actually, my next pick is basically piggybacking your last pick. And that is, we talked and you mentioned briefly Darnell Mooney. That is going to be my next pick for similar reasons. Allen Robinson is gone. Justin Fields has improved. And as you can see on my screen here, targets percentage, last 4 games, Darnell Mooney at 30. That number I feel like is going to increase this year, making him one of the top receivers in terms of target percentage.
I agree. He's the unquestionable number one wide receiver on Chicago. And the price is very reasonable at $5,700. So nice pick.
Okay, next pick will be a tight end. Dallas Goedert is going to have a field day this week because another quarterback that I think is going to really improve this year is Jalen Hurts. I'm looking to the young guns that are really, trying to make a name for themselves. Dallas Goedert, very consistent the last couple years, going up against a defense that gives up a lot of fantasy points to tight ends.
Yeah, I think the outlook actually looks better for Dallas Goedert this year than last year. I think that Philadelphia passed less than any other team, and I think that changes this year, mostly because they have AJ Brown. Now,
Definitely.
I think Devontae Smith is only going to get that better. I actually think that helps Dallas Goedert. You might go, oh no, that means that Brown's going to take a lot of. I think that'll open up the field more and give more opportunities for Dallas Goedert. So, and he's a very reasonable price of $4,500. All right, Gian, I have 3 more picks for $15,400, and mentally, I'm fine to having a defense that's $2,200 or less. So my quick math will tell me that leaves $13,200. So can I come up with a combination of a quarterback for $13,200 and a flex? And yes, I can. At only $5,000. Let's welcome Daniel Jones to the team. So, what do I like about Daniel Jones besides the fact that he only cost me $5,000? I love the fact that he runs the ball to supplement his floor, and I actually think maybe with this team that their wide receivers are actually get a little healthier. I think Rondell Robinson could help him. He's the type of guy that can catch a short pass and then run for many yards. And then finally, he faces a Tennessee defense that is terrible against the pass. And so, Daniel Jones. Gian, any comments?
You floored me with Daniel Jones. I never in a million years would have predicted that prediction. I'm speechless right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of negatives, don't get me wrong, on Daniel Jones. His team implied total is 19. We suggest never going less than 23. We also say don't usually pick a bargain basement quarterback. Daniel Jones is getting down there to be bargain basement, but it allows me in this kind of stars and scrubs lineup that I put up with is to use that $8,200 on the other guy I was thinking about picking up earlier and lamenting that maybe I should have gone him. How about getting both? So in my flex position, I am picking up Austin Eckler. Yes, I was able to figure out a way to get Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Austin Eckler all in my lineup. I talked about the fact, and I didn't do a very good job with the rest of my players, getting some exposure to the really high scoring games. I mean, his implied total is 27 and almost 28 points. Yes. This guy, yeah, I don't expect him to repeat 20 touchdowns, but the reality is he gets heavily involved in the passing game, which is great on DraftKings. and he's the goal line back. So I really like his role on the Chargers, and I'm happy to get him in my lineup.
I think that that is a great pick. I think that somehow it's actually shocking, but you figured out probably to get 3 of the top 4 running backs this week. I think you're going to have a great chance to win now that you've done that. And you know what? Daniel Jones now, considering you have 3 of the top 4, can only help you. He won't hurt you. He can only help you because I too am looking at a $2,200 defense. And that again, it looks like the Bears is the theme this week. I think that Trey Lance will be a good quarterback in the future. I don't know about week 1 in Chicago. It's a raucous environment. And at $2,200, I can't turn this down because it'll free up some money so I can get myself a decent flex. My flex position, I'm looking at salary. I've got 5,600. So I'm going to scroll down. I don't have anything locked in yet per se, but I'm going to take a quick look and boom, something that catches my eye here right away is Travis Etienne. $5,600. I'm going to click on James Robinson because I was reading the news. This story right here, James Robinson will be eased in. I was worried taking Etienne, how much of a factor is he going to be in this game? They're going to ease James Robinson into this game. So Etienne is the RB1 this week for sure. Maybe even more so as the year carries on. We'll see what happens. He's electrifying. He's got unbelievable speed, unbelievable make-miss ability. I think that even with Robinson in there, they will line up Etienne in the slot. I think it's going to be a really good game for him. We'll see how Jacksonville does. I mean, it's been growing pains with them, and it'll continue to be. But I think that at $5,600, Etienne is the play for me here.
Especially on DraftKings, because he will get involved in the passing game and got that full PPR. So there's your team: Carr, Taylor, Mixon, Pickens, Renfro, Mooney, Goddard, Etienne, and the Bears. Well, all right, let me take a peek at defense because that's the last position that I have. The Lions, the Raiders, are the Vikings. Would I like to die by lethal injection, firing squad, or the electric chair? My memory is of those 3 defenses, Minnesota is the one that has the highest sack rate. Gosh, Green Bay, that's a high-scoring game, so I don't like that. But they don't have Devontae Adams, and maybe they'll struggle in their first game without him. Maybe we'll see. It's a punt defense either way that you're thinking about it. So that's my team. Oh, any comments?
Yes, if you remember last year, Green Bay week 1, terrible.
So my team is Jones, McCaffrey, Henry, Robinson, Pittman, Bateman, Kmet, Eckler, and the Vikings D. What do you think, Gian?
Well, I think your running backs are top notch. I think that that'll be a big formula in your success this week. But I think that the wild card for you is your New York Giants stack, Jones and Robinson. It'll be really interesting. If you can get even a little from them, and I just want to thank you for having me on this week as a guest, and looking forward to more in the future.
Gian, thank you so much for joining us. We want to remind you guys, please take a look at our DraftKings either cash show or our GPP show. Both of them are on the screens. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Until next video, take care, everybody.